the purpose of today's lesson is really to figure out, why did Robert Frost call the poem that we're about to take a real close reading at, why did he call this poem tricky? Why was this a tricky poem? And why is it called a poem like a wolf in sheep's clothing? Well, here's what's going to happen first. I would like you to read it, okay? I want you to read it silently, and I want you to think about what this poem means, okay? Think about what it means. Each stanza, okay? A stanza is a group of lines, and in this case, by looking at this poem, how many stanzas is this poem? It's 4. It's 4. So you can see the chunks of lines, and that's called a stanza. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm also going to pass out a form that looks like this. It's a note-taking guide. And what I want you to do as you're reading, jot down some notes. What do you think the first stanza means?
I'm guessing he means he's taking one road off his life, which means he's taking a decision. Thus, implying this part.
Okay, so it leads on to the next part. What gave you that evidence?
It says 2 roads diverge into a yellow wood, and I'm sorry I could not travel both there, right there.
So say that again. So that first couple lines means what?
And right there it says 2 roads diverge into yellow wood. I'm sorry I could not travel both, meaning he can't take 2 decisions. He needs to take one important one of his life, and go down that path.
Okay, can't go down both. You got to take one. You got to make a decision, right? Okay. I want you to now talk to the person sitting next to you and have some partner talk. And I want you to share what you think this poem means. Okay? Talk about what it means. Talk about some of the notes that you wrote down. Have a conversation. See if you're on the same page. See if you have 2 different meanings, and talk about it.
Well, practically, I thought the same. I thought the same thing also, because in the second one,
the one he took is the best
everybody would choose a nice path to go to, obviously. So I think that first one was like, oh, it's a nice path. Just go. For the third one, I didn't really understand, but I think the guy or whoever it was just sitting there and didn't have any.
Well, that's like his first day on the new path.
Yeah, well, there's no sign of him like that.
Kind of like noticing the differences and
probably he'll just like
choices that he
find out
made by taking that path.
Let's hear some of these ideas about what each of these stanzas mean. What kinds of things did you write in this conventional meaning area? Pedro?
Correct me if I'm wrong. And it says on the last one, it says, I took the one less traveled by, and I'm pretty sure because it's talking about decisions, a lot of people supported him about this decision. So it's not saying that people wouldn't take that path. It's that people didn't support him about it.
So a lot of you were noticing that one column said conventional meaning, okay? And some of you were noticing that there was another column over here that says subversive meaning, okay? Subversive meaning, maybe something bad is happening here, right? Maybe it isn't all happy and inspirational. Maybe there's something more to this poem than what is obvious to a lot of us, okay? I have to say that I have read this poem probably 100 times in my life, okay? And if you are ever in a store, a Hallmark store or something like that, you may have seen a card that often has some of these words printed on the front of the card. And many people buy this card because of the reasons that many of you were saying. It's inspirational. Take the road less traveled and you'll make all the difference in the world. I'm going to think about what is perhaps the less obvious meaning here. What is Robert Frost trying to say? Okay, so let me look here. It says, the roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. I'm going to stop right there. This idea of yellow wood, okay? I know that in poems, authors a lot of times use symbolism, right? And I'm thinking of the word yellow, and I'm thinking about how things in yellow are sometimes go hand in hand with autumn and fall and things like that. And when we're talking about a person here, it makes me think of a person's autumn years or kind of their later years. So I'm imagining that this is a person, older person, maybe in the middle years of their life, maybe 50 years old or so. Okay, so it says, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. So I see this with these words, one traveler, and I'm thinking, oh, this guy is on his journey by himself. He's one traveler. I see the pronouns I a couple times, and the words one traveler. And I'm thinking that he's not very confident about the choices that he's made. That he has some doubt, because we see the word doubt here, and he might have some regret. Okay, and I know this because I'm really paying attention to some of these words, and I'm really looking at the poem's less obvious meaning. What words or phrases do you think Robert Frost has used to suggest that there's really no difference between the two roads? What words give us that clue? How do you know there's not a lot of difference between the roads? Let's look at our evidence in our text. How do you know that? Which words tell us that? Yeah, Alasia. Okay, so you said had warned them really about the same, right? And just as fair. So you're noticing the words just as fair. Good. So over here in this right-hand column, you might want to write about these paths are really very similar, right? They're about the same. What words or phrases does Robert Frost use to signal this idea of, oh, I might regret something? The narrator might have a feeling of regret. Are there any words? Ileana, what did you find?
The words that he said that he's telling us with a sigh.
He's saying it with a sigh, right? In this fourth stanza. So that might be some kind of a feeling of regret. Okay. What else, Robert?
In the third stanza, he says he doubted.
Okay, in this third stanza, he's doubting. Kind of an unsettling poem, isn't it? I mean, you're like, oh, this isn't all happy and glamorous and glorious and inspirational like many people think. Robert?
It's like there's always a wondering about like what your life would be like if you just like took the different path.
Right.
Whether it'd be better or worse. So.
It's always that feeling of wondering, right? What if? You guys are saying it real nicely. Yeah.